The final exam. The air in the room was thick with tension, the only sound, the frantic scratching of pens on paper. I was Alex, the top student, the one everyone expected to ace it. I breezed through the first few sections, confidence humming in my veins. Then I hit the final question, the one that made up half the grade, and my mind went blank. Utterly, terrifyingly blank. The words on the page swam, blurring into meaningless symbols. Panic, cold and sharp, clawed its way up my throat. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of failure. I couldn't remember a thing. The bell shrieked, signaling the end. I handed in a mostly empty answer sheet. The results came back like a death sentence. Failed. The prestigious program I'd dreamed of, the future I'd meticulously planned, all gone. Just like that, it felt like my world had shattered into a million pieces. A heavy curtain of shame and despair fell over me. I locked myself in my room, ignoring calls from friends, convinced my life was over before it had even begun. The bright future I'd been promised was now just a dark, empty void. What was the point of anything anymore? I was a failure, and I didn't want anyone to see it. Days blurred into a monotonous cycle of staring at the ceiling. Then, one afternoon, a gentle knock. It was my grandmother. She didn't lecture me or offer empty platitudes. Instead, she just asked, "Alex, I need some help in the community garden. My back isn't what it used to be." I wanted to say no, to crawl back into my hole, but something in her eyes made me relent. "Fine," I mumbled. The first few days were pure drudgery, weeding, watering, turning soil. My mind was still a storm of self-pity, but slowly, something started to shift. I started noticing the details, the way a vine curled around a trellis, the subtle shades of green in a patch of herbs, the geometric patterns of the flower beds. My hands, once accustomed to holding a pen, were now covered in dirt, and it felt good. It felt real. One afternoon, I found an old, forgotten corner of the garden, overgrown and neglected. An idea sparked. I grabbed a stick and started scratching a design in the dirt. A curved path here, a cluster of sunflowers there to catch the morning light. The frustration that had been choking me began to loosen its grip, replaced by a budding curiosity. I went home and, for the first time in weeks, picked up a pencil, not for equations, but to sketch. I sketched winding pathways, rock gardens, and vibrant flower combinations. I spent hours at the library, not studying for exams, but devouring books on horticulture and landscape design. The garden became my canvas, my laboratory, my sanctuary. I was creating something, building something from nothing, and in doing so, I was slowly rebuilding myself. A new sense of purpose was taking root, quietly but firmly. One sunny afternoon, Mrs. Henderson, the garden's cheerful organizer, gathered everyone. "Big news," she announced, her voice buzzing with excitement. "The city is holding its annual Green Heart Garden competition, and I've entered us." A murmur of excitement rippled through the community members, but my stomach twisted into a knot. Then my grandmother spoke up, her voice clear and proud. "Alex should lead the design. You should see the plans he's been drawing." All eyes turned to me. I froze. Me? Lead a competition? The fear of failure, that old familiar monster, reared its head. I can't," I stammered. "I'm not qualified. What if I mess it up?" But the community wouldn't hear it. One by one, they chimed in. "Your ideas are wonderful, Alex. We trust you. We'll all help." Their faith was a stark contrast to my own. I looked at their hopeful faces, at my grandmother's encouraging smile, and felt a surge of something I hadn't felt in a long time: responsibility. This was bigger than me. It was about them, about this little patch of green that had brought us all together. Taking a deep breath, I nodded. "Okay, let's do it." A cheer went up. For the next few weeks, the garden became a whirlwind of activity. I poured every ounce of my being into the project, directing the team, my voice gaining confidence with each passing day. We built a sensory path with fragrant herbs, a quiet reading nook under a weeping willow, and a vibrant pollinator's paradise bursting with native flowers. It was more than just a garden. It was a story, our story, told through leaves and petals. The day of the competition dawned bright and clear. The judges, 3 stern-faced horticultural experts, walked through the garden, clipboards in hand. My heart was pounding, but as I began to explain our design, the anxiety melted away. I spoke about creating a space for community, about sustainability, about how each plant was chosen not just for its beauty, but for its purpose. I pointed out the children's corner we'd built, the wheelchair-accessible paths, the compost system we'd implemented. The judges' expressions softened. They started nodding, smiling. They saw not just a collection of plants, but a living, breathing space that reflected the heart of our neighborhood. After what felt like an eternity of deliberation, the head judge cleared his throat. The creativity, the thoughtful integration of community needs, and the sheer passion evident in this design are truly exceptional. She paused, a wide smile spreading across her face. First place goes to the Elm Street Community Garden. The crowd erupted. I was swept up in a sea of hugs and joyful shouts. But the day wasn't over. One of the judges, a professor from the state university, pulled me aside. "Young man," he said, "I've never seen such innate talent. Your design, it has vision. We have a landscape architecture program at the university. I'd like to offer you a full scholarship, a scholarship." The words echoed in my head, a beautiful, impossible sound. I accepted. That single yes felt more right than any answer I'd ever written on an exam. Failing that test wasn't the end of my story. It was the plot twist I never knew I needed. It closed one door only to guide me toward a wide-open gate I hadn't even seen. It forced me off the path everyone expected and onto the one that was truly my own. Now, years later, I stand here in the middle of a sprawling public park that I designed. Children's laughter echoes from the playground. An elderly couple sits on a bench I placed perfectly in the shade, and everywhere, life is thriving. I'm a landscape architect. I don't just build gardens. I create spaces where people can connect, find peace, and grow, like I did in that small community garden. I look at the vibrant blooms, the strong trees, and I see my own journey. A journey that started with a blank page and a feeling of utter failure, but ended here, in a world of my own creation, full of color, life, and purpose. Thank you for watching my story. If it resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more.